Hey, what's going on? So there's this tweet that got me thinking. I'm not really responding to this tweet so much as I was just thinking about things. So I will read this tweet to you and then I'll kind of go through what I was looking up. So it says, this is by John Frisella at Legend Sports 7 on Twitter or X. It says, two NFL things he cannot stand. One is the Charger fans making excuses for Justin Herbert in that embarrassing loss to the Jaguars. If Herbert was really a superstar, he would have closed the game out in the second half against the Jaguars and put him to sleep. That's straight facts, according to him, even though it sounds like straight opinions, but okay. And then he goes on to say, yes, the coach and the defense were bad. We all know that, but so does Herbie. He knows that the game is ultimately in his hands, and that's what happens when you're a franchise player. So basically what this guy's saying now, he was just talking about a playoff win, and I'm not really worried about playoff wins. We want Super Bowl championships, right? Multiple, like Jim Harbaugh said. So let's look at the Super Bowl champions and see kind of what they were doing as far as carrying a bad defense. They're superstars, so it shouldn't matter what the defense does, right? Let's take a look. So Tom Brady, going back 10 years, 2014 record 12-4. The defense was ranked number 13th, but points allowed, it was number 8. And I have the rushing statistics here. Those really didn't seem like they were that important. The Chargers have that. I think the most important thing with the rushing attack is how are you able to run the ball in the fourth quarter, which is not something I looked up. So we'll skip the rushing part of this. And this at the bottom here, it says Herbert's 4-year average, the points allowed per game was 24th and rushing 3.9 yards per carry. So it looks good, but we know that the Chargers can't run the ball in the fourth quarter. So I don't care what that 3.9 looks like. It's useless. 2015, record 12-4. Defense was ranked number 1 for Peyton Manning and the Broncos. And the points allowed was 4th. So second straight top 10 defense against for points allowed. Jumping to 2016 from 2015, Tom Brady's record was 14-2. His defense was ranked number 8th, but number 1 points against. Nick Foles, the backup for Carson Wentz, went 2-1 that year as the starter during the regular season and then went on that Super Bowl run. The record was 13-3 overall. The defense was ranked number 4th and gave up the 4th most points in the league that year. 2018, Tom Brady with another championship, 11-5. His defense was ranked a pretty mediocre 21st, and the defensive yards allowed was 7th, so still top 10 when it came to giving up points, even though they gave up a lot of yards. 2019, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, 12-4 record. The defense was ranked number 17th, but against points or points allowed, they were 7th, so still very solid. Looked like they had a pretty good rushing attack there too. 2020, 11-5. Tom Brady goes to the Buccaneers and wins the championship in his first season of 2. So his defense was ranked number 6 and points allowed was number 8. Herbert, this is his first year in the league, 7-9, which I thought was pretty solid for that team based on what they were trying to do. They had the 10th ranked defense, but guess what? When it came to giving up points, they were 23rd. So 2021, Matt Stafford brings the city of Los Angeles a Super Bowl championship. 12-5 record. Now, this is the most mediocre defense that we've seen. They were number 15 when it came to their ranking yards given up and 17 when it came to points against. Now, they did have, if my memory serves me correctly, they had an elite 49ers team in their division and also an elite Cardinal. Well, I don't know about elite, but pretty damn good Cardinals team. They were the team to start the season. I think they were 7-0 when they started and then came crashing down. So this was the most mediocre defense that any team had ever seen. But guess what? They had Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald dominated at key points of those games. Justin Herbert in 2021, record of 9-8, almost made the playoffs, just missed. Defense was ranked 23rd, and the defensive points against was 29th. So they had a winning season with the defense giving up the 29th most points in the league. Look at the other thing here. I was saying, well, the yards didn't really matter that much, but look, they actually averaged a pretty solid 4.3 yards per carry and rushed for 1,834 yards. So that was actually a pretty good rushing team for the Chargers. 2022, Mahomes with another championship, 14-3. Defense was ranked a mediocre 16th or middle of the road 16th, but almost top 10 in yards or in points given up with 11. A fantastic rushing attack there, it looks like. And then what did Herbert do that year? They also made the playoffs 10-7. They actually went into the playoffs almost on a tear until they gave up all those yards and points in the second half against the Broncos and finished 10-7 instead of 11-6. But look at the defensive ranking here. This is the best Herbert's had with a terrible rushing attack, I see. So the defense was ranked number 20th and gave up the 21st most points in the NFL that season. 2023, record of 11-6. Mahomes with his best defense to date. So the mediocre record of 11-6, because that mediocre offense they had, and then that defense coming together with all those young players. But at the end, they came together. They were ranked number 2 against in points allowed and yards, actually, with a pretty phenomenal rushing attack there. And Justin Herbert fell off the map there, down to 5-12. I think Herbert's record was 5-8, if I'm not mistaken. Defensive was ranked 28th, and they gave up the 24th most points. So that's actually a pretty solid year for Brandon Staley's standards. So yeah, there you go. So it looks like defensively, looks like most of the Super Bowl champions going to have a top 10 defense, except for 2. One had the 11th, and I think one had the 17th, if I'm not mistaken.